Hey Reddit. Throwaway account because I don't want this tied to my main, too many mutuals on here. This is going to be long, probably messy, and honestly, I'm still processing all of it. But I need to get this off my chest and maybe someone out there can learn from my blind spots. So, my wife and I have been together for 9 years, married for 6. Let's call her Alyssa. At first, everything felt like it should: fun, passion, late-night conversations about dreams and stupid hypotheticals. We traveled, built a life, adopted a dog together, buddy, my little dude, and I genuinely thought we were solid. Sure, we bickered now and then, like everyone, but nothing that ever felt like it could break us. Or maybe I was just too naive to see the cracks forming. About a year ago, I noticed Alyssa changed, not in any one big way, but in these tiny, hard-to-define shifts. She used to call me on her lunch breaks. That stopped. She became more protective of her phone, like screen down always, and God forbid I accidentally glanced in its direction. She started going out more: girls' nights, coworker birthdays, gym meetups, stuff she never used to do that often. When I brought it up, she said I was being controlling, that she needed space and was finally learning how to prioritize herself. I believed her. I wanted to believe her. I figured maybe I was just being paranoid or insecure. She could be sharp with her words, sometimes mean just to shut a conversation down, and I back off to avoid another cold night of silence. Looking back now, that was when the real betrayal had probably already started. I just didn't want to see it. So here's where things started getting weirder, and my gut started screaming at me, but like an idiot, I kept pushing it down. Alyssa had this new work friend, a guy named Jason. Supposedly they met during a corporate training seminar. She mentioned him casually at first: "Oh, Jason said something funny today," or "Jason's team is a mess." But his name kept coming up more and more. Eventually, she started texting him a lot, which I only noticed because she'd laugh at her phone, smile to herself, then lock it and put it face down when I came into the room. I'd ask, "Hey, what's so funny?" and she'd say, "Just a meme," or "Nothing you'd get," and then change the subject like I was boring her. And God forbid I joked about Jason being her work husband, she'd roll her eyes and say, "You're being so immature." Like I was the problem for noticing anything. She also started dressing up more. Nothing wrong with that in theory, but Alyssa used to rock hoodies and sweats when she wasn't working. Now suddenly, she was buying new lingerie, getting waxed regularly, which she hadn't done in years unless we were going on vacation, and spending so much time on her hair and makeup, and not for me. We hadn't been intimate in almost 2 months by that point. I tried to talk to her about it. I asked if something was going on, if we were okay. She got cold. Defensive. Said she was tired of feeling policed and that I needed to stop making everything about me. It left me feeling like maybe I was being clingy or overly jealous. But deep down I knew something wasn't right. And I was right. Okay, here's where things took a sharp turn. So about 2 months ago, Alyssa told me she was going to a team-building retreat for work. 2 nights at some resort about 3 hours away. I didn't love it, especially when I asked if spouses were invited, and she flat out said, "God no, it's for employees only. It's mandatory." She packed light but took her fancy perfume, the one she used to wear only on anniversaries or date nights, and a new dress I'd never seen before. I remember feeling off that whole weekend. Something just felt wrong. Buddy, our dog, wouldn't stop whining at the door the first night, and I couldn't sleep. So I did what anxious, slightly paranoid husbands do when their gut won't shut up. I checked her iPad. I didn't go looking for anything in particular, just opened it to play music, and then bam, iMessage was synced. She didn't realize the iPad still got her texts. What I saw made my stomach drop. There were pages of texts with Jason. Flirty, gross, way too familiar stuff. Stuff you don't send a coworker. Nicknames, jokes about our little getaway, even a damn shirtless pic from him that she responded to with, "You're going to kill me," in that hotel bed smiling face with horns. I just stared at the screen like I'd been punched. My ears were ringing. You know that moment when reality shifts under you and nothing feels solid? That? I felt like I couldn't breathe. This wasn't emotional cheating. This was full-blown, straight-up betrayal. And there was a message timestamped just that night. "Room 212, same as last time. Can't wait to feel you again." I remember whispering, "What the hell," like saying it out loud might make it not real. But it was real. And she was still 3 hours away. With him. I didn't even know what to do next. I didn't sleep that night. Not a second. I just sat on the couch with the iPad in my lap, reading their messages over and over like some sick form of self-torture. Part of me kept hoping I was misreading it, that there was some context I was missing, but come on. There's no innocent explanation for "You wore me out last time," grinning face with sweat followed by a heart emoji. It was all there. Naked truth in digital ink. At around 2 a.m. I got this sudden urge to call her. Just hit her with it. But then I stopped myself. She was still with him in some hotel room. What would that accomplish? She'd lie. Deflect. Gaslight me again. And honestly, I wanted her home when I confronted her. I wanted to see her face when she realized she couldn't talk her way out of it this time. So I waited. I started screenshotting the texts just in case she tried to delete them. I saved the shirtless pics too. Gross as it felt, I wanted evidence. My hands were shaking while I was doing it, like my body couldn't keep up with what my brain was processing. I even texted myself copies so they were backed up no matter what. Sunday evening she came home all cheerful and fake tired. Ugh, that retreat was so draining, she said as she kicked off her shoes. Let's order takeout and chill. I asked her how it went and she gave me this robotic rundown of workshops and team bonding like she had the script memorized. She didn't know what was coming. I nodded, smiled, played it cool, even rubbed her shoulders while she scrolled through Instagram like she hadn't just betrayed me 2 nights ago. I needed to be calm for what came next. Because I wasn't going to ask. I was going to show her what I knew. And blow this whole thing wide open. So it's Monday night. I'd waited 24 hours with the storm building in my chest and I finally decided I couldn't hold it in any longer. I told her we needed to talk, and not in that vague, relationship therapy kind of way. I looked her dead in the eyes and said, I know you're sleeping with Jason. She froze. No blink. No breath. Just this flicker of panic that flashed across her face before she tried to force it into that smug, eye-roll expression she always used when she thought I was being dramatic. Wow. Seriously? This again? I didn't say anything. I just reached for the iPad on the coffee table, opened it, and handed it to her. Screen lit up, conversation thread open. Her face dropped. The color left it completely. She looked like she'd just seen a ghost. For a split second, I thought she might actually admit it, maybe even apologize. But nope. Instead, she doubled down. You went through my messages? You're seriously spying on me now? That's so messed up. I laughed. I mean, I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, it was the kind of dry, stunned laugh that just bursts out when someone flips the script that hard. Like I'm the villain now? You cheated on me, I said, and you're mad that I found out? She stood up, arms crossed, getting defensive like she always does when she knows she's cornered. And then, I swear to God, she had the nerve to say, it wasn't like that. We were just talking. Flirting, maybe? But it's not what you think. I pointed to the line that said, you wore me out last time. Explain that, Alyssa. She paused, then said, you're twisting everything. It was one time, okay? It didn't mean anything. I wasn't happy and you haven't exactly been amazing lately either. Boom. There it was. The blame shift. Classic cheater playbook. I couldn't even speak at first. My mouth opened but nothing came out. I just sat there staring at someone I didn't recognize anymore. All the love I thought we had? All the trust? Gone. Like someone turned the lights out inside me. And for the first time in our marriage, I didn't feel angry. I felt done. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. No big dramatic movie scene. I just sat there in total silence while she stood in the middle of the living room, arms crossed, refusing to make eye contact. It was like I was watching a stranger scramble to protect a lie that had already bled out on the carpet. She kept pacing, rambling, we weren't connecting, you don't listen to me anymore, it wasn't even emotional, it was just physical. That one stung the most. Just physical. Like she didn't rip out my insides. Like it was some gym membership she signed up for without telling me. I asked her flat out how long. She hesitated, then said a couple weeks. That was another lie. I already knew it had been going on for at least 3 months, probably more. There were messages from February. February? I said, so all those nights you went out with the girls? That was Jason. And she actually had the audacity to say, not every time. I just stared at her. No words. What could I even say to that? Then she started crying. Big crocodile tears, sitting on the couch like she was the one who'd been betrayed. Saying she didn't mean to hurt me, that things just got confusing and she felt seen by Jason. That she missed feeling wanted. Wanted. Like I didn't try. Like I didn't plan anniversary weekends, clean the damn house, take care of Buddy, show up every day. I told her I needed space. I said, I can't even look at you right now, and went into the guest room. Locked the door. Sat on the floor and cried like a child. Ugly, messy, chest-heaving sobs. That was the night my marriage officially died. Not with a bang, but with a quiet, soul-deep fracture that you feel more than hear. The next morning was surreal. Like I was living someone else's life. I didn't sleep at all. Just lay on the guest bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sounds of her moving around the house like nothing happened. Coffee machine, cabinet doors, her typing on her laptop. I wanted to scream. I wanted to walk out and ask her how she could possibly act normal after nuking our entire life. Instead, I stayed in that room with Buddy curled up next to me. Even he seemed off, like he sensed the shift. She knocked on the door around 9 a.m., voice soft like she was trying to walk it back. Can we talk? I said, not now. She hovered a second, then said, I'm sorry, through the door. I didn't respond. I couldn't. Because I knew it wasn't about me for her, it was about getting herself off the emotional hook. Damage control. By noon I'd packed a bag. Just essentials, laptop, some clothes, toothbrush, Buddy's leash. She saw me dragging the suitcase through the hallway and said, where are you going? I told her, I don't know. But I can't stay here. She tried to block the door. Started crying again, real or fake, I don't even know anymore. Saying, please don't do this. We can fix it. I'll go to therapy. I'll cut him off. I swear. And here's the thing, a few months ago maybe I would have cracked. Maybe I would have taken that bait. But something in me had broken the night before. Something that didn't want fixing. I told her, you should have thought about that before you booked a hotel room with someone else. And then I walked out. I didn't have a destination. I just drove. Buddy in the back seat. No music. Just silence and the sound of tires on pavement. I think I ended up in a Walmart parking lot for like 2 hours, just staring out the windshield, trying to remember how I got here. This wasn't supposed to be my life. After a couple hours of sitting in that parking lot, feeling completely untethered, I finally texted someone. My best friend, Mark. Mark and I have been close since college. He was the best man at our wedding. Alyssa never liked him much, always said he was too blunt or made things weird. Maybe because she knew he saw through her crap from the beginning. I texted him just 2 words. She cheated. He called me in under 10 seconds. I didn't even say hello. I just blurted everything out, the iPad, the texts, Jason, the hotel, the lies. I was shaking again. My voice cracked more than once. Mark didn't interrupt. Just let me talk until I ran out of steam and sat there breathing heavy like I'd just run a marathon. Then he said, where are you? I told him. 10 minutes later, he was pulling into the lot with coffee and this look on his face like he wanted to go fight Jason himself. I hadn't cried in front of anyone since my dad's funeral, but when Mark hugged me, I just lost it again. It was the first time someone looked me in the eye and said, you didn't deserve this. None of this is your fault. We sat in his car for a while. He let me vent, then helped me figure out the basics, a hotel for a couple nights, somewhere pet-friendly for Buddy. He even offered his guest room, but I didn't want to intrude. I needed space to think, to feel, to fall apart a little without someone watching. He said something that stuck with me. You've been surviving her crap for years. Maybe this is the first time you're allowed to live without it. I didn't respond then, but damn, it echoed in my head the whole night. That evening I checked into a crappy motel off the highway with stained carpet and humming AC. Buddy curled up on the bed like he didn't care where we were as long as we were together. I lay there staring at the ceiling, still hearing Alyssa's voice in my head. It didn't mean anything. If that's true, why does it feel like everything just collapsed? The next couple of days were a weird kind of blur. The world kept spinning, but I felt like I was stuck underwater. I didn't go to work. I couldn't focus. My boss was understanding when I just said family emergency, but I could hear the concern in his voice. I wasn't ready to tell anyone else yet. The truth felt too raw, too embarrassing, like I'd been played in a game I didn't know I was even in. Alyssa texted me constantly. Like nonstop. Can we talk? Please answer. I'm sorry. I messed up. I'll do anything. I didn't mean to hurt you. Please don't give up on us. She tried calling too. I didn't answer once. Not out of spite, I just couldn't handle her voice. I knew if I heard it, she'd twist something again. She always did. But on the 3rd day, I finally gave in and looked through some of the older texts on the iPad. I hadn't dug too deep before, just the recent stuff. But I was curious, or maybe I was looking for closure. Either way, I opened the thread with Jason and scrolled. And holy hell, it went way deeper than I thought. Turns out it didn't start in February like I originally believed. The earliest messages were from October. Last year. That's 7 months of lies. 7 months of sneaking around. 7 months of coming home to me, kissing me goodnight, telling me she loved me, all while sleeping with someone else behind my back. And get this, they had inside jokes about me. Yeah. One message from Jason. Is he still clueless? Face with ears of joy. And her reply? So oblivious it's almost cute. I swear I went cold reading that. Like ice in my veins. It wasn't just betrayal. It was mockery. Disrespect. Total emotional annihilation. I wasn't just some collateral damage, I was the punchline. I threw the iPad across the motel bed. Didn't break it, but I kind of wished it had. I just sat there, heart pounding, rage bubbling under my skin like lava, and one thought kept circling in my head like a vulture. How did I let it get this far? On the fourth day, I finally agreed to meet her. Not because I thought we'd fix anything, I knew we were past that. But I needed to see her. One last time. I needed to hear the words come out of her mouth. I needed her to stop hiding behind texts and start owning her mess in the light. We met at a quiet park halfway between the motel and our house. Buddy was with me. She wasn't expecting that, but honestly, I didn't care. He's the only one in this whole thing who's been consistent. When she walked up, she looked like hell. No makeup, dark circles, oversized hoodie, the kind of look you'd expect after a funeral. And in a way, it was one. The funeral for our marriage. She sat next to me on the bench. Tried to touch my hand. I pulled it away. Don't. She looked down and sniffled. And then she launched into this long, winding, emotional monologue. It was the greatest hits of cheater apologies. I didn't mean to fall for him. I was lonely. You were always busy or distracted. It started slow, I didn't think it would go that far. He made me feel alive again. I sat there listening, nodding occasionally, not because I agreed, but because I wanted her to finish. When she finally stopped, I said, "You didn't trip and land in a 7-month affair. You chose this." Over and over. She went quiet. Then she said I made a mistake. And that's when I lost it. No. A mistake is forgetting to take out the trash. What you did was planned, repeated, and deliberate. She cried harder. Said she'd do anything to fix it. Said she'd block Jason, go to therapy, delete social media, whatever it took. And for a split second, I saw the desperation in her eyes and thought, this is the part where most guys give in. But not me. Not anymore. I stood up, clipped Buddy's leash, looked her right in the face and said, "You broke something in me. And it's never coming back." Then I walked away. I didn't look back. The walk back to my car felt like a blur. My chest was tight, like I'd just finished a marathon I never signed up for. But under all that anger and pain, there was relief. Not peace, not yet, but something close. Like I'd finally stopped drinking poison and pretending it was water. Later that night, I did the hardest thing so far. I called my mom. We've always been close, and she's always loved Alyssa, maybe a little too much. She used to say things like, "You got lucky with her, and you better hang on to that one." I dreaded the conversation. But I told her everything. I didn't sugarcoat it. I didn't protect Alyssa. I just laid it all out, the affair, the lies, how long it had been going on, how she tried to blame me. My mom went quiet. Dead silent for a few seconds. Then she said, "I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I had no idea." And then, even softer, "You didn't deserve that. None of this is on you." Hearing that broke me all over again. Like I'd been holding my breath for weeks and someone finally gave me permission to exhale. She told me I could come stay with them for a while if I needed to. I almost said yes, but I needed to stand on my own feet first. I thanked her and said I'd think about it. We talked for a while after that, mostly about normal stuff, weather, family, her garden, and for the first time in days, my brain got a break from the chaos. After hanging up, I messaged a couple more people. My cousin, 2 of our mutual friends. One of them, Dave, was shocked. Said he always thought Alyssa seemed off, but never wanted to say anything. Another said, "I didn't know what was going on, but I knew something wasn't right. It hit me then, people did notice. I just didn't want to see it. Because when you're in it, when you love someone, you make excuses for things that should be deal breakers. You downplay red flags like they're just part of the scenery. But not anymore. The veil was off, and I was finally telling the truth to others and to myself. Just when I thought things were starting to settle, at least emotionally, she showed up. It was Saturday morning. I was still at the motel, eating some sad drive-through breakfast and scrolling through apartments on my laptop, when I heard a knock on the door. I looked through the peephole and there she was. Alyssa. No warning. No text. Just there. Standing outside my cheap motel room like some twisted rom-com character with her hair tied up. Wearing the hoodie I bought her last Christmas. The same one she used to sleep in when she missed me. What a joke. I opened the door halfway, kept the chain on. "What do you want?" She looked like she hadn't slept. Eyes puffy, mascara smudged. I swear I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. "I just wanted to talk. Please. I've been losing my mind." I told her I wasn't in the mood for another speech. That I'd said everything I needed to say. She asked me to at least let her say goodbye properly. "Closure," she said. Like that word would unlock the door. Against my better judgment, I let her in. She looked around the room like she was shocked I was actually living in this dump. Like she expected me to be in some sleek Airbnb, healing with yoga and smoothies. I said, "This is what divorce looks like in real life, not like the movies." She sat on the edge of the bed, hands folded, and just talked. Apologies again, but different this time. Less defensive. More raw. She admitted it started long before Jason, that she'd been checked out of our marriage for a while, that she'd felt bored, restless, like she lost herself in being a wife. And instead of talking to me, she went looking for validation elsewhere. She said Jason wasn't anything serious, that he meant nothing now. But honestly, I didn't care anymore, because I meant nothing to her then when it counted. I told her I was filing for divorce, that I'd already started talking to a lawyer. Her face fell, but she didn't argue. Maybe because she knew I meant it this time. And then, the last curveball, she asked if she could say goodbye to Buddy. Buddy, who had been curled up by the AC unit, perked up and walked over to her wagging his tail. Traitor. She pet him for a minute, cried quietly, whispered something into his ear, which I'm sure he promptly forgot because he's a golden retriever and his brain is 80% joy and squirrels. And then stood up. "Goodbye," she said. I nodded, closed the door behind her, and just like that, she was gone. For real this time. That night, after Alyssa left the motel, I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I didn't even feel numb. I just sat there on the bed with Buddy's head in my lap, staring at the little stack of takeout napkins I'd been using as coasters like they had something important to say. I'd been through the worst of it. The blow to the gut, the heartbreak, the unraveling. Now I was in the aftermath. The quiet, uncomfortable stillness where your heart feels like a bruised organ instead of a broken one. I started making real plans. First, I met with a divorce attorney, a no-nonsense woman named Karen, of all names, who didn't flinch once while I laid out the mess. She was calm, professional, and actually made me feel like I wasn't an idiot for trusting someone who'd stabbed me in the back repeatedly with a smile on her face. She looked me in the eye and said, "You're going to be okay. This isn't the end. It's the middle." God, I needed to hear that. Next, I found a short-term rental. Not glamorous, not cheap, but it was clean, pet-friendly, and mine. First night there, I unpacked slowly, putting things away with purpose. Like I was rewriting the story of my life one drawer at a time. No more sleeping in a motel. No more waiting for her to text. No more, maybe she's telling the truth this time. It was just me, Buddy, and a fresh start with zero room for lies. I also blocked Alyssa. Phone, email, socials, everything. Not because I hated her, that part was fading, but because healing required silence. And she'd filled my head with too much noise for too long. People started finding out. Some mutual friends were shocked. A couple sent me long, awkward messages trying not to take sides. Others straight up unfriended her. One guy, a friend I hadn't talked to much in months, messaged me, saying, "Man, I always knew you were solid. She didn't deserve you." That one hit hard. I wasn't perfect. I had my flaws. But I was there. I was loyal. I built a home and a future with someone who burned it all down for a cheap thrill. But now, I had a hammer and some nails, and I was ready to rebuild. It's been about 6 weeks since I walked out of that house, the one I used to call home, the one where everything fell apart. It feels both like yesterday and a lifetime ago. Time moves differently after betrayal. Some days fly. Others crawl. But there's progress. There's healing. I've developed a routine now. Mornings with Buddy, fresh air, and coffee. Work during the day. I'm sharper at it now, oddly enough. Like I've redirected the energy I used to spend tiptoeing around someone else's moods into actually taking care of myself. I've been going to therapy. Real talk, I should have started years ago. The first session felt like tearing off a bandage I didn't know I had. My therapist asked me, "When did you start feeling alone in your marriage?" And that one question cracked me open like a dam. The answer wasn't when she cheated. It was long before that. It was the nights I apologized for things I didn't do, the days I gave her space while getting none in return, the slow erosion of my own voice just to keep the peace. That was the betrayal before the betrayal. My lawyer's handling the paperwork. Alyssa's being cooperative now. Probably because she knows she has no leg to stand on. No fight left to win. She tried to email once, saying she hoped we could be friends someday. I didn't reply. She's still with Jason, by the way. I know because one of her friends, someone who reached out to me, said so. Apparently, they've already posted a photo together. I didn't look. I won't. Let them have each other. Two liars in matching smiles. Me? I'm good. Not great. Not living my best life or posting cryptic inspirational quotes with beach sunsets. But good. Solid. Sober, emotionally speaking. I've learned how quiet real peace is. Not the absence of noise, the absence of tension. No walking on eggshells. No double meanings. Just the stillness that comes from knowing no one is hiding anything. For the first time in years, I'm not waiting for the other shoe to drop. Because it already did. And I walked away from the wreckage. So here we are. If you've made it this far, first of all, thank you. I didn't think I'd ever be the guy pouring his guts out on Reddit, but writing this has been more therapeutic than I expected. Now that the dust has settled, here's what I've taken from all of this. No self-help guru stuff, just the truth, straight from a guy who's been dragged through it and came out the other side. 1. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. I ignored signs for months. Maybe longer. I gaslit myself into thinking I was insecure or jealous or overthinking. Nah. Instinct is underrated. If the energy shifts, pay attention. 2. Love doesn't mean ignoring disrespect. I thought being a good husband meant being patient, forgiving, understanding. And yeah, those things matter. But not when you're excusing behavior that slowly kills your self-worth. Real love doesn't require self-erasure. 3. Cheaters rewrite the narrative. Alyssa tried to turn it around, blame me, downplay it, make it sound like a mistake. Cheaters minimize. They distort. They panic when you hold a mirror up. Don't fall for it. Document everything. Protect your peace. 4. You will feel insane. You're not. The emotional fallout is brutal. 1 minute you'll want them back, the next you'll hate them. You'll replay everything in your head and question what was real. That's normal. It doesn't make you weak, it means you felt it all. That's strength. 5. You can rebuild. Even from ashes. Even when you feel like a hollowed-out version of who you were. Start small. New habits. New boundaries. One honest decision at a time. I'm not whole yet, but I'm not broken either. Just in motion. Healing is forward movement. If you're going through this right now, let me tell you. You're not alone. You're not stupid. You're not weak for loving someone who didn't love you back the right way. You're allowed to walk away. You're allowed to start over. And one day, maybe sooner than you think, you'll wake up, take a deep breath, and realize you're not hurting the same way anymore. That's the first sign of freedom. That's when you know you survived. Thanks for reading. Some guy who got cheated on and learned to stand back up anyway.